Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If anyone's unfamiliar, this is Marvel's latest like major film epic.
You kind of need to have seen WandaVision, because otherwise you don't know where Wanda's been.
Yeah, it's pretty mandatory.
WandaVision is also important for her motives throughout this film. So it is just good to have a grasp on what that show was about.
Which, believe it or not, I think might be an Achilles heel of this picture. But what's going down here is Doctor Strange, he's cast a forbidden spell that opens up a portal to the multiverse. Well, a Doctor Strange has cast a spell to the portal of the multiverse. And then the movie pretty much loses its goddamn mind from there. What happens is we discover Doctor Strange and a few new characters working in tandem against some villains some creatures that you may recognize if familiar with the comics, or in some cases even the video games, but not really the movies. So we're seeing a lot of new characters pop up here. What happens is like Doctor Strange and this new figure, America Chavez, new figure to the movies at least, are running from just imminent doom left and right. And what happens is a new threat that may even be bigger than what they think they're facing rears its head. So now I got to peep this. Shay, Abby, y'all got to peep this. Shay, you want to give the people a rundown of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness?
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness essentially opens up with a version of Doctor Strange in the character America in the void, trying to get a specific MacGuffin that will supposedly fix all the trouble, but we don't know what the trouble is yet. And at the end of this altercation, because then a big red blob of scary shows up, and
the scientific terminology for it? Yes, a big red blob of scary.
And this Doctor Strange dies, and America somehow rips open a portal into essentially the Marvel MCU, and our Doctor Strange wakes up from a dream, thinking that what he saw was all a dream, only to find out when he meets America that it was all real. And then things just get more fun after that.
This one's directed by Sam Raimi, who, if you're familiar with Sam Raimi's work, he does good things with light horror fare, but this is Marvel's, well, not first, second really attempt into doing a horror-esque type of film. So the last one we saw was Morbius, and I thought Morbius was
hot garbage.
Was something,
to put it mildly. It was a movie, all right, but this one I think approached that better, and you can definitely see that having the different director on there, possibly with a better approach to the script as well, definitely had an effect. But as you mentioned, it really depends on how you reacted to WandaVision, when it turns out that our primary antagonist in this is Wanda Maximoff herself.
The blob of scary.
Yeah, and that is a spoiler, but that's something we kind of have to mention. If you see this movie, you'll understand that the entire plot hinges on you understanding, one, where she came from, and two, why she becomes the villain, instead of, as the advertising for this leading up to the film would have you believe, that it's just an uneasy alliance between her and Doctor Strange. And where I mentioned at the start of this, I think that may have been failing on the part of this movie, because we were promised a lot from the end of WandaVision, like, oh my God, she's done this horrible thing with her power, but at the end, she's learned her lesson, and she's now going to find better ways to deal with her trauma, right?
God,
and then at the end of What If, it's also, well, Doctor Strange messed up majorly, but at the end, okay, he's learned from this, so now in his next picture in the multiverse, we're not only going to get to see him having learned from like the big ass dumbness, like, okay, so these are the things I can't do and these are the things I mustn't do, and this is where I have to draw the line, and cleaning up this mess, we're going to get all this cool like extra universe stuff and other characters and other versions of people. It's going to be dope. And what ends up happening is, well, Marvel gonna Marvel. That's what I'm gonna say. Abby, you've been waiting with a zen-like patience to get your thoughts out. Please hit us.
So I have been a fan of Marvel, of the Marvel films for several years now, and if I saw this movie 5 years ago, I would be like, what in the fan fiction is this? Because there are so many things I would be like it's a good film. It's like they have like good reasons for a lot of them. They just seem to like it just seems a bit rushed at times. With like it just seems like the script was a bit forced and a bit rushed, and the characters, like their motives, like I understood like the motive of like Wanda, but she went to extreme lengths to do it, only to sort of like have this like revelation discovery at the end and be like, and suddenly just sort of choose a different path. And I'm watching this like I loved it. I loved when they introduced several characters that I didn't expect to see in this film. And I watched with like the fans might have influenced how this film was going to play out.
Little.
Just a little.
Yeah, a little as in your whole hell of a lot. Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like the top tier expectation. I came in with like the top tier expectation of like, you know, it's a Marvel movie, it's going to be good. And for this specific film, I don't think if you are a Marvel fan, I don't think you should go into this film being like, oh my God, this is going to be the best Marvel film. It's not. It's a good film. It's just not. It just isn't, you know, it's like if I had to rate this, it would be like a 70% compared to like the 90% that most Marvel films are. Like, it was a good film. It just wasn't a great film.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that just a little bit, because I feel the same way. I want to see if your reasoning for that is the same as mine.
So they've sort of focused too heavily on Wanda Maximoff, because this just felt like, although she was the main antagonist of this film, it just felt like a WandaVision 2.0, just a sort of sequel to that with Doctor Strange attempting to stop her, and America Chavez being a sort of important character for maybe future films and TV shows to sort of set up the multiverse. How it ties into the other films as well. They briefly mentioned Spider-Man, and because of other characters that make cameos, it could possibly introduce some other future movies as well. It just feels like it catered to the fans with the information that we were given. There was just they tried to cram too much information into a film that wasn't able to give it out in a sort of correct way. And there was just one scene with Wanda where she goes up against a set of superheroes, which like she sort of easily walked through them with very little issue.
Afterthought.
I mean,
I laughed. It was
Witch.
hilarious how fast she did that.
Yeah, that scene bothered me for a few different reasons. The one that really got me though is like, as a comic fan, as somebody who knows like various Marvel characters from the cartoons, from comics, from TV show attempts, from other movies, I'm just like, okay, well, I know why y'all did this. I see why you did this, but this is some total BS.
Yeah.
First of all, right there, like even in the same movie, you showed that this shouldn't happen, and then you did this way. And I'm thinking that people aren't paying attention to their surroundings. They're not looking at things logically, even though their whole spiel is we look at things logically. I'm like, false. My ass, you do. All right, and I'm watching this, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but the trailer alludes to certain characters that will pop up unexpectedly. Well, get ready for this surprise. Yeah, you're not fooling anybody, okay? I telegraphed the hell out of this. But then when they do, the things they do with them are aggravating, because if you followed any of these characters from anything else, if you've read any comics with them, if you've watched any of the previous TV shows or movies that feature them or allude to who they are and what they're capable of, this whole thing was just meant to. It was one big MacGuffin to show. Oh yeah, no, you thought Wanda was powerful, but you didn't know she was this powerful.
But
And I'm thinking, okay, as a film, I'm watching this fall apart before my eyes here. I came here with good faith of a lot of stuff that you've shown me and you've built up. You've built up this positive clout from WandaVision being a good deep insight into not just the powers in the Marvel Universe and saving the world and stuff, but the mental effects that this has on someone and the trauma that loss can create within a person, and then them working through it. And in both WandaVision and in What If, you see both the ultimate negative outcomes and the ultimate positive, well, not ultimate positives, but more positive outcomes of it. And this was now supposed to be the culmination of those affecting the characters. And instead, they just gave us a regular ass superhero movie. Evil person says, yo, I got motivations and ain't no one gonna stop me. And everyone else is like, well, we gonna stop you. But even though we've been shown to be like ultra powerful, we're gonna be nerfed for the sake of the story. Your plot armor is going to be so thorough that the rest of us who had our own plot armor, apparently it's just been rusted and taken care of. We didn't get our armor all going on because now you are the high-end muckety muck, where I'm just so... Okay, sorry, I'm getting off into a rant, it's starting to make a little less sense. What I will say is, I don't like the changes in personality of some of the characters. We see a character that we were introduced to in a previous movie. I won't spoil it. I want to, but all I'll say is that character is related to one that was featured pretty prominently in the Marvel Universe, like in the comics, and I'm pretty sure we'll see more of in the upcoming movies, but they completely changed her personality. So her personality, Shay, you look very, confused.
I'm trying to think of who you, I'm trying to think of who you're talking about.
All right. If I go like this, it may help. If I go like this. And if not, we'll talk about after. But they changed that character's personality from every other depiction for really no reason. I'm like, okay, this was actually a really strong, new figure you could have introduced to this universe that could have done some good. You introduced actually several that could have done some good, and instead you removed them all for the sake of just showing, well, you won't believe how badass our big bad is in this one. So it's just like,
I just felt like that was just pooing and all the fan casting, because that was one of the people that fans were like, oh, they should play this character.
Like extra play Y, why should play
C? Yeah, and then they did that.
And
so
there's a good way of doing that, and they didn't do it well because the characters that they casted proceeded to not appear in the film for very long, unfortunately, which was just they were just there to move the plot along. Yeah. And they didn't even do it for very long, which was somewhat disappointing. I came in with the expectation of because of the build-up, because of how well Marvel movies had been in the past, relatively, they often are able to tie in with each other really well, and also be good as a standalone movie with but also be able to tie into the greater scheme of things.
And it's harder now, though.
It is harder now with more content. They require to actually tie in to keep their audience while also expanding upon it. And they, just the production team, they did seem to try hard on this film. It just fell flat of the expectations that I had for it. And I do admit I had high expectations of this film going in. And I learned not to have high expectations of it going in. And there were good parts of the film. The effects were pretty decent. It just wasn't as good as I hoped it would be.
No, that's fair. And the thing is, it sounds like we're bagging on this film. I actually did have a good time watching this. I also feel the need to emphasize, however, that because it's a Marvel movie, it's this big special effects epic. And mind you, beautiful ass film. This thing was mind blowing on screen. But also, there's so many there's such difficulty in the story. Like, it really was just a half-ass attempt at telling a mid-level tale. This really felt like something that they're using just to link the previous parts of their big epic saga to the next parts of their big epic saga. And this isn't a movie that you can watch like by itself and feel, oh yeah, no, I really got insight into the characters and I had a good time watching development and such. This really felt like you're just watching, okay, stay tuned because next week, or I guess next season, we're gonna have this. And this was just a 2+ hour, coming up next on Marvel's, Days of Our Lives. So like, I also feel kind of cheated that of everything of all the fan service they tried to inject in here, because there is legitimately Easter eggs galore in this mother. If you are familiar with the Marvel Universe, whether or not you like what they did, the stuff is in there. Characters you wouldn't expect to see, random references in the background, they're just there cause. And the biggest aspect of just the hardcore nerd out that you wanted them to do, they did in the cheapest way. And to me, that's the multiverse itself. The different realities that we were promised, that we could have seen, we had hoped they would go into and have all these changes in characters and different roles and switches and world, manipulations and stuff that would have been cool. Just gonna tell you, it's a montage. They did it as, well, we're flying through this, I fell through a hole, oh god, what's this? And it's like one where paint, one where stone, one where pizza comes in spherical form, one where I didn't pay a lot for my car insurance. They got all this like random stuff that just like flies by, and you only actually see like maybe 3 different realities that you get to explore and see the story develop in, which genuinely heated me. Like, I got more satisfactory multiverse jumping in that one episode of Futurama, where they have like the different universe boxes and they just jump in from one to the other. Like, yo, in Pirate Universe, I did this. So yeah, well, you don't even know about Gold like Streets Universe, where we got it's like all of that was cool. And at the very least, if they gave us the cool stuff, I would have been a little less perturbed. And they didn't do that, man. At least in my opinion. Shay, your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like the odd one out here because I wasn't that bothered by any of those things.
Really?
No, because one, I didn't go in with any real expectations. Granted, because I am becoming more and more aware of exactly how difficult it is to keep track of all of this continuity. Also, I was aware that this movie, the pushback of this movie coming out now opposed to like 6 months ago when it was like originally scheduled to come out, that causes a little bit of dissonance when you think about, okay, what came before this? It does. I do think it's a little weird that Wanda apparently, last time we saw her, we thought she was getting better, but then she entirely wasn't. And I get that that's supposed to be the Darkhold taking over her. Like, I understand that, but like, it'd have been nice if this movie had more of a 50-50 split between Wanda and Strange, but I feel like we spend more time with Wanda than we do with Strange in a lot of key moments in this movie, and which makes it feel less his movie. And I think that's like my biggest gripe. I thought the whole thing with the surprise cameos was hilarious. I also knew going in that it would not last very long. I knew they weren't going to last long going in. So I was just there to enjoy the ride. I was like, that is hilarious. Is that blue spaghetti?
Oh my god, the blue spaghetti was...
It was genuinely horrifying.
I laughed.
It became a whole ass Cronenberg movie for like 12 seconds.
That and the mind explosion. The mind
that was pretty bad.
That one bugged me. I'm like, why you gotta do that to Steve Jobs?
I didn't understand how
Steve Jobs
that
didn't deserve that.
That was so disappointing. It was funny, but it was disappointing.
I was just like, and I love that they got the same actor from Inhumans.
Mm-hmm. And Inhuman pops up in this. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, minor spoiler.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's the same dude. I was like, oh, so that's cute. They're all like, so if a character has existed in any Marvel movie ever before, they tend to want to get that actor to play that character again. And they did that. And they
Unlike
just,
in the Proud
it's a
Family where they just
different
have this cat in the bus, like, no lines. Psh.
Well,
But
they all
that's
got
here.
lines.
All right, not to cut you off, Jay, not to cut you off. We are starting to run over time.
Okay.
So I just want to say that with the new Doctor Strange, it definitely has its problems. Like we can recite these all day, but ultimately what it came down to is, like, I think on like a subconscious level, we know what this may have been because Marvel's been doing a lot of like, no, we're setting up the next property. We're setting up the next property.
Yeah, no, you're setting up Young Avengers if you can't tell.
Yeah, so maybe it was on us to get like out of that headspace and think more realistically of what they're actually trying to do. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I would have liked to have seen them do more with the multiverse and explore some of these characters and the universes more definitely. But I don't think we got a bad film. I think we hyped it up so much. Our expectations were the things that failed us.
They just couldn't meet them.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it was an inhuman task. I don't know. I'm giving it a thumbs up. Mind you, it's that like, it's that like soft thumbs up because it's just like, I didn't get as much as I wanted, but you did give me Bruce Campbell as Pizza Papa, so I got to give you a pass on that. And yeah, if you're a Marvel fan, it's got all the Easter eggs you could ever ask for, and including Shuma Gorath, who, if you played any of the Marvel fighting games, you'll probably be more familiar with. So it is what it is. Shay?
I personally am just always make sure, because you got that post-credit scene. That was probably one of the things I loved the most, because I knew who that character was, and I was like,
okay. Yeah, that was a loaded one. That was a loaded one that if you don't know who the character is, you might just think, oh, well, that's cute. You know, they're doing like a Hallmark movie type of thing. If you do know, they're like, yo, noted.
Like, I don't think I got this
movie's
excited since they did the hint of Adam Warlock, or when they did when the first time Thanos turned around that chair, and I was like,
oh my god.
It kind of is, but with such an obscure character, don't get people's hopes up like that, because folks are gonna be sitting there like,
yeah, it's like the equivalent. It's like the equivalent of like, fine, I'll do it myself, and proceeds to put his hand in the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, and then doesn't do shit for like 8 movies.
Exactly.
Right. So Shay, where are you proper?
So I'm thumbs up. I genuinely had a good time. Maybe it helped that I watched it with my husband, who was hyped the entire time.
Okay. That energy will do it for you. That energy really will.
But yeah, like, so I had good energy with me when I watched it, because he has watched it 4 times at this point.
Yo, who has that kind of time? This is not a short movie.
Apparently Shay's husband does. That's impressive.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Okay. How about you, Abby?
I have to give this a thumbs up. It's a soft thumbs up. I shouldn't go into Marvel movies with such high expectations. That is definitely a thing that I've learned. It did have its good moments and a lot more bad moments, but it was a good watch. And if you want to see how they're going to set up the future movies, this is sort of something that will help you understand them. So if you want to go see it, I do suggest it. I do suggest that you also wait until it comes out on Disney Plus, so it's free if you have Disney Plus. So it's not worth seeing in theaters.
No, that's
just my humble opinion. So
no, definitely a sad but true point. The film is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. To be in the Multiverse of Madness. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, stars Elizabeth Olsen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Wong, freaking Rachel McAdams pops back up. A lot of people you want to see, and some folks you don't, but they're there anyways. Deal with it. We felt generally positive, but remember everything we said, because that's kind of important. And please, if you haven't seen this, see it after you watch WandaVision and you watch Marvel's What If. Otherwise, you will be completely just lost in the void. Just saying that. Also, Bruce Campbell, Pizza Papa Pizza Balls, always worth the time. But we are out of time, y'all. So I want to thank y'all for joining us from the episode of the Geek Down. Reminding you, if you heard it on this show, you want to chime in on, hit us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com. And also, dude, while you're online, check out all our hijinks shenanigans. You go to geek-down.com for all our latest and greatest. And, I mean, you can just in an exploring mood, go ahead and check out the other shows. Why not, right? You go to villains.wtf. You can see all our sister shows and get just a healthy heap of goodness for your viewing pleasure. But for now, I want to thank Shayna Shea.
Peace.
I want to thank Abby Abstergo.
Thank you.
I want to thank Javier.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to thank you people. Reminding you until next time, yes, and to each other. Peace!